Lisanne works with third wave coffee source, or Primavera, they're also known as, a really fantastic green coffee importer working in Guatemala. And Ivania has come from Nicaragua. She's a coffee producer. Her farm is called Finca Alborada, and she works with the cooperative La Providencia. And they're here to talk about coffee farming, specifically in the small farm setting. And the title of the talk is The Coffee Farmer, Misconceptions and Actual Diversity. So let's just check these out. There you go. I'd like to give a warm round of applause.
Thank you.
Cierra los ojos. Estás en una hermosa montaña de América Central con muchas plantas de café. A tu lado tienes a una persona.
So, close your eyes for a minute. And imagine that you're standing on the top of a mountain in a beautiful coffee region somewhere in Central America. Can you see the coffee plants that are stretching in the landscape in front of you? So there's a person standing next to you, a farmer. You look at the face of the farmer, and what is it that you see? ¿Qué es lo que ves?
Puede ser un hombre o una mujer.
Is it a man or a woman?
De edad media o joven.
Is it a person of middle age or a younger person?
Feliz o preocupada.
Maybe happy or a worried person?
¿Cómo te imaginaste al productor?
So how do you imagine a coffee farmer is like and looks like? So if the first thing that came to your mind was maybe a man of middle age, smiling, maybe even with a straw hat, then you're not the only one who has this imagination. So in the coming 50 minutes, we would like to share with you some of our ideas and thoughts that we have been having together. Ivania, indeed, from her perspective as a coffee producer, and I as a researcher and working in the coffee industry. And we have structured the coming 15 minutes according to the following 4 questions that you can see. So indeed, the first question, what is our general idea of the coffee farmer? And then secondly, does this actually match with reality? Or do we have some stereotype ideas or even misconceptions?
¿Hay problemas de estereotipos?
And if that is the case, are these stereotype ideas problematic?
Y algunos aportes que podamos dar.
And if that is the case, then what can we do to challenge these problematic stereotypes? All clear? All good for now? Perfect. Okay, so I guess we all know these kinds of pictures of happy people that are picking coffee cherries, standing next to a coffee tree, or those ones where people proudly show a handful of ripe cherries to a photo camera. Okay, there is nothing wrong with these pictures at all. They are very informative about the coffee production process, right? But what I think is very important to keep in mind is indeed that these pictures, they are informing us. Yes, these images are telling a story with the emphasis on a story. But what if this story is only one part of a bigger story?
Pues faltan muchas historias que contar de otras personas.
So indeed, Ivania says, what if there is other stories of other people that is missing? So how come that probably most of us would have this very common, maybe pre-made idea of the coffee farmer being a man of middle age? And how come that we continuously keep to see all these images online, on websites, or in videos And it seems that these images are constantly reproduced. I had a quick search before we came here today, and what I find a bit shocking personally is maybe the fact that you don't really notice it until you pay attention. So it seems to me that we have really internalized this idea of the farmer, and we hardly notice that there is not so much diversity in the pictures and stories that we hear about origin. So I want to ask you, Ivania, maybe you can tell from your personal experience in your community in Nicaragua, why is it that we tend to see so many men on pictures?
En Nicaragua, los hombres son los que se les reconoce más el trabajo, son los que toman decisiones, los que controlan los ingresos, son los que llevan el trabajo más duro en el campo, son los que representan en las cooperativas, y pues ese es un problema, porque no es visibilizado el trabajo de las mujeres y de los jóvenes. Y el hombre y la mujer no reconocen ellos mismos el trabajo de la mujer, siendo ella la que se levanta muy temprano y la que duerme más tarde, llevando un trabajo muy arduo para esta labor, lo que es el café.
Okay, so what she's explaining is that traditionally in Nicaragua, coffee as a cash crop has always been in the hands of men. This means that men do a lot of work on the farm. They cut the weeds, they sow, they maintain shade trees. They are also the one who make decisions usually and are in control of the income from the coffee. But as much as men do, women in the family do a lot too to contribute to the family farm business. So in order for men to be working on the fields the whole day during the harvest time, a woman usually wakes up around 3 o'clock in the morning to start cooking food for all the workers on the farm. She brings the food to the field, and women usually also join the coffee picking. They are also involved in the fermentation and drying of the coffee. So what Ivania is actually saying is that men do a lot on the farm, and if you would be visiting a farm and you would be talking to a producer, a farmer, then you will most likely be talking with the man, and he would mention all the work that he is doing, and not maybe even considering the work of the female family members as crucial for the farm business as well. And even women themselves, if you would ask them, they would also not really consider their own work as this essential part of the business of the family. So yes, women are there, but they are invisible. Sí, que sí. Las mujeres están ahí, pero están invisibles, ¿verdad? Sí. I also noticed that we hardly see or rarely see pictures of young people when we tell stories about coffee origins. Ivania, can you maybe share with us something about the young people in your community? ¿Nos puede contar algo de las jóvenes en su comunidad?
Los jóvenes desempeñan un trabajo muy valioso dentro de las labores del café, tanto los varones como las mujeres. Los varones ayudan a sus padres en las labores del campo, las mujeres ayudan a las mamás en las labores de la casa, pero no solo eso, también las del campo ayudan. Y ese trabajo ha sido invisibilizado, pero los jóvenes están modernizados. Mientras están laborando, están con su teléfono, tomándose una foto para subirla a Facebook, para subirla a Instagram, y eso es muy importante. Lo que no se ha valorado es ese trabajo para visibilizarlo y así motivarlos a que sigan adelante con la producción del café.
Okay, so she says, okay, maybe we don't see a lot of pictures of young people, but they are there, and they are actually a very fundamental part of rural labor force. So young people, both young men and women, especially young men, would work on farms as day laborers because they don't own their own land yet. or they would be working on fields of the neighbors as coffee pickers. But they also join in the family work, again, on fermentation of coffee, on the drying of coffee, and preparing the foods for the other laborers at the coffee farm. So what actually happens here is maybe comparable with the situation of women. Young people are no decision makers yet, or not owners, so they tend to step less to the front and speak out and tend to be less visible, although they are very crucial part of the work and labor force as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you, I like that example. What she has seen happening in the last year, some changes of young people compared to the adults, is that they are constantly, when they are working, picking coffee cherries, making selfies of themselves, uploading it on Facebook, chatting with their friends on Instagram, and stuff like that. So actually, it's kind of interesting that we don't tend to see those images that much yet, I guess. Something to think about. Okay, so very quickly, what we have just shown is that apparently there is this typical idea of the farmer being a middle-aged man, and there is not only maybe an issue on our side of the coffee chain, being in consuming countries, of not showing a diversity of stories. Actually, there is maybe a more deep-rooted problem that goes back all the way to the very own households and communities of coffee producers themselves, where young people and women tend to be less visible in their own very daily life. But there is another stereotype idea that I would like to share with you. Very curious to hear later on what you think yourselves. And this is this idea of thinking about a coffee producer in origin, either in a very romantic way or in a more victimizing way. And I will explain to you what I mean with that. So when I'm traveling in coffee origins with coffee people from Europe or the US, I hear a lot of these kind of comments, like, oh, it's so beautiful here. People seem to be so happy with so little. And they may not have much, but their lives are so free of stress. And they seem to be truly able to live in the moment. Or their lives are so pure. They seem to be so free from the focus on materialism like we have in our societies. We are always stressed and in a hurry. So I guess that is what I mean with the romanticization of farm life, la romantización de la vida del productor, la productora.
Oye, pero no todo es felicidad. También hay momentos difíciles, hay momentos buenos. En tiempos de cosecha todo está bien porque hay ingresos, pero en tiempos que no hay cosecha hay miles de dificultades como la educación, como la salud, como se me terminó el dinero y los zapatos ya no me sirven. Estoy estresada porque no tengo con qué comprar ni con qué solucionar los problemas, pero en tiempos de cosecha todo es muy bien.
So she said, yeah, but listen, it's not, I mean, that romantic picture doesn't do justice at all to the reality of our lives. I mean, yes, we have good moments, and especially during the harvest time when money is coming in, but the rest of the year, a lot of families face constant financial stress. There may not even be enough money to buy good shoes, or parents are worried about being able to send their children to school, or or someone in the family has a rotten teeth, something very simple, not being able to pay proper health care. Yeah, I think it's good that you balance that. But what I'm sometimes a bit worried about myself, let me keep it very personal. When I try to tell stories about producers in coffee origins, I think it's very tricky to focus on the topic of poverty, struggle, and misery, because my fear is that if I would be talking about all these struggles and poverty and difficult stuff, that I would be reducing coffee producers as victims of a situation and that have no control in taking their own decisions and lives forward, as if I'm saying that they are dependent of our help on this side or our support in the coffee chain. So, yes, that's a struggle, I think, because I do want to do justice to the fact that there is inequality in the coffee value chain, that we have to acknowledge that there are power imbalances between the buying and the selling side, but not fall into either this paternalistic discourse, or on the other side, just tell the cool, happy farmer story.
Pues en estos casos hay un balance entre lo bueno y lo malo. No todo es bueno, no todo es malo, pero esta es una parte que no somos víctimas de todo esto, sino que podemos analizarlo y podemos tener una vida balanceada y podemos buscar estrategias de diversificación para tener una mejor calidad de vida. Y yo creo que también eso no solo ocurre en los productores, también ocurre en toda la sociedad. Ustedes mismos también pueden tener este tipo de vida, momentos difíciles y momentos buenos.
Exactly, so I agree. She's saying, yeah, indeed, we have to find a way to tell a balanced story, because the reality is that there are different people, different kind of producers that all have their own strategies and tactics to deal with the difficulties in their lives, but they also are normal people with their ups and their downs, so it's not either this extreme idea nor the other, and we should try to do an effort in balancing these kinds of stories. And then what she added to that is basically a question to you, so maybe we can pick that up in a bit. It's like yourselves, right? In every professional group, there are these stereotype ideas and even maybe misconceptions that are not true, and there is a sort of middle ground story. So let's see what you have to share with us about that. Okay, I think that is clear. There exist stereotype ideas and misconceptions in every professional group. But what is the point then of showing these stereotypes that we just presented? So what is the problem in our specific examples? ¿Cuál sería el problema en nuestro caso, ejemplos que dimos nosotros?
Bueno, hay historias muy buenas que contar, historias de mujeres para llevar este trabajo. La mujer hay que visibilizarla, y ese ha sido el mayor problema, porque la mujer no ha sido visibilizada en esta labor. Siempre hemos visto fotografías de hombres trabajando en el campo, de hombres representando en los eventos, y pues para nosotras las mujeres ese es un problema, porque también nosotras merecemos ese espacio y hay que visibilizar más el trabajo de la mujer y la labor que ella hace. Y pues mientras la mujer está palmeando una tortilla para darle el alimento a los hombres que andan en el campo, pues siempre están resaltando más los hombres y no las mujeres. Yo creo que eso es muy importante de mencionarlo y resaltarlo.
Okay, so she says, why we want to challenge these stereotype ideas? Well, basically, first of all, because the invisibility of women and young people is a fact, and they do a lot of work, so they deserve that place and that space for telling their own stories and experiences themselves. It also works empowering if they see that they are actually recognized as being part of the farm enterprise. And she's suggesting that we could think of other types of pictures that we show when we talk about coffee origin and the coffee story. For example, pictures of women preparing food for the workers on the farms. Because truly, she mentioned, we basically see only pictures of men working and picking coffee in the fields, and yeah, it would be good to try to balance that out. And I personally also think, just as an additional point, maybe also from a quality perspective, it's super important to realize who does what on a farm and who makes decisions about what on a coffee farm. So it all starts with this awareness of who are the people involved and what are they doing. Let me give you an example. So if Ivania and I are planning to give a training on fermentation and coffee drying in her community, what mostly happens is then we look at the people that we could invite and we take the list of the members of a cooperative. Those are usually the men, because they are the landowners and are registered at the farmer organization. So we would train the men, this is what is very common, not realizing that it's actually women that have a great part in fermenting and drying the coffee. So we're missing crucial people when it comes to training. Yes, and I think part of what we would like to share too is that it's therefore important that we share a diversity of stories and that we are doing this together, like today. Entonces que estamos aquí presentes nosotros dos, ¿verdad? Para compartir. No sé si ¿qué opina usted sobre eso, como del diálogo entre productor y consumidor, estar en eventos y...
Para mí es muy importante empoderar a la mujer, hacer un equilibrio, equidad de género, hombres, mujeres, participando más en eventos internacionales, el productor, y el consumidor o el tostador también visitando a los productores para que conozcan el trabajo arduo que se hace en el campo, porque detrás de una taza de café hay mucho trabajo y eso hay que visibilizarlo, comprador, productor, más participando en los eventos y visitando más la finca.
Yeah, so she's saying indeed, if there would be more producers, both male and female, young people, becoming to events like these, to represent their communities and tell their stories, that would be something very important to work on and create a more diverse picture of stories about coffee origins. And also, people like yourselves, professionals, coming more over to producing countries, if possible, so that you can see with your own eyes what is the diversity of activities and people are on the coffee farms working. So, yes, in conclusion, I think we have tried to show you some of these stereotypical ideas of the men, the lack of visibility of women and youth, and also the romanticization and victimization of farmers and the search for finding a more balanced story. I think we, as producers, or people on the producing side and on the consumer side, are more connected than ever before. We can more easily get in touch with each other than ever before. So it would be nice, I think, if we would take a sort of joint responsibility as a global coffee community in telling a more diverse range of stories that really do justice to everyone, every person and every experience of people working on a coffee farm.
Podemos enriquecer la presentación con preguntas del público, los participantes, que estamos a la orden para dar los aportes necesarios, y muchísimas gracias por su atención.
So please join us in this discussion. We are super curious to hear what your thoughts are. Feel free to ask anything, even if you have awkward questions, that would be even nice. Yeah, just please, let's have the discussion together, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much please feel free to take a seat, for this really thought-provoking and interesting topic. It's really great to have coffee producers come to an event, come so far, and really great to hear about these things. One question that springs to mind, I guess, obviously you touched on how some of the younger pickers and things are using social media, but how aware does Ivania think producers themselves and their families are that they're being represented mostly in these ways, mostly by these pictures of men and pictures? Do you think they're aware of this issue?
Ok, Ivania, entonces una pregunta para usted. Él quiere saber si los productores en su comunidad, su cooperativa, están como que ellos saben cómo nosotros a nuestro lado nos imaginamos cómo sean los ellos están como saben eso, tienen una idea de cómo pensamos sobre el origen y estas ideas estereotípicas.
Bueno, como productor, pienso que la parte del consumidor y el comprador, desde el productor, creemos que no conocen mucho, a pesar de que se han hecho muchos eventos sobre estos conocimientos, pero creemos que hace falta más que lleguen al punto donde el productor, para que conozcan y valoren más el trabajo que se hace en este rubro del café.
Okay, so she's saying that she feels that most of the producers in her community, they don't really have any idea of the conversations or dialogues and also ideas that are existing right here. Even though there are sometimes trainings or they meet up and try to exchange ideas, though this topic, no, is not maybe not so vivid for them. It's also very abstract, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose it is, relatively abstract. It's something that always has gone through my mind over the years, working in coffee for a roaster and then now in green coffee, is also this kind of a follow-up question, which is...
Yeah, maybe I would like to add one thing, because
please.
What I really like, indeed, of that question is... It's also, of course, the other way around. It's not that we have stereotype ideas about producers only. The other way around as well. Producers have an imagination of how we people, coffee people, are consuming our coffees in the West. So it exists both ways.
Yeah, which would probably be interesting to hear what those stereotypes might be.
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah. I guess one of the thing that kind of I always think about when particularly we in the consuming side, we promote farmers and we promote images of farmers. I always wonder, because if you came across a picture of yourself online and you didn't know it was there and it was like talking about you and your background, would you, I personally think I'd find that quite strange if I had no direct connection to this.
Yeah.
And I often have wondered if as a producer,
Ivania,
how she might feel about that.
Okay, entonces como él también trabaja en café, ¿no? Trabajando por una importadora. Y siempre publicamos estas imágenes de productores con una historia sobre sus vidas. Y siempre está pensando cómo un productor o una productora que no sabe que está en un sitio de web se siente cuando vea eso, que hay cómo se sentiría ver eso.
Pues
¿Es raro o...?
muy emocionante saber de que el productor está más allá del trabajo de finca, o sea, está en la historia que conoce la industria, los consumidores en países desarrollados, pues los productores nos sentimos emocionados. En mi caso, hablábamos ahora y decía, si sale algo en una revista, es emocionante, es bonito, es alegre, grandioso, conocer de que el productor está en esas historias y es conmovedor.
Ah, okay, yeah, so she's saying actually when we see our own images displayed online with our stories, we feel extremely excited because that means that people are valuing not only the coffee but the people behind it and the work behind it. So she personally feels very excited if she sees her name appearing somewhere online. Yeah.
Okay, super interesting. I think it makes sense if we ask a few questions from the audience. There's only 3 mics, so
Yeah.
I guess I will take... Yeah, there we go. Okay. So do we have any questions? Probably over here from Miha.
Hello and very welcome. I wanted to ask you, what are the biggest problems in your community now? What are the challenges in this moment?
And are you interested in a specific type or just can be anything related
No,
to farming,
anything related to
social?
farming, to people, to the community.
Okay. So, ¿cuáles son los problemas más como comunes y fuertes en este momento mismo en su comunidad? Y puede ser de todo, de parte social, parte de agricultura, económico, ¿cuáles son los problemas más grandes?
En estos momentos los problemas más grandes son el financiamiento para darle el mantenimiento a las plantaciones de café. Las familias no tienen ingresos, pues hay dificultades a veces para la merienda, problemas en el vestuario, tal vez en el calzado, vestimenta. Y pues eso es conmovedor porque en la familia cuando no tenemos recursos es preocupante, es estresante y yo creo que para toda la sociedad de igual manera cuando tenemos esas dificultades creo que eso estresa.
También en Nicaragua mismo ahora, ¿verdad? So she says by far the biggest problem at the moment is financing, and basically the financing in this period to maintain the coffee farms up to the harvest time. There is a gap, and a lot of people struggle. And then besides that, you may have heard it in the news. At the moment, Nicaragua is going to a rough time. So that's another big thing that's going on at the moment at the national level.
I think we had another question over here.
So, welcome again. I think this is going to be a question from farmer to farmer, actually, a little bit. There is I understand very well what you are trying to tell, and it happened in South America as well, and I'm from Peru. And we have another issue that it's regarding what you're talking about, and it's about kids as well, that they are with this new generation, Facebook and Instagram generation. But at the same time, the farmers are sending the kids to the school and high school, university, and they became professionals and they don't want to go back to work on the farms. So you working with the producers, trying to show up the women work and kids work. Is there another future project that helping or focusing in kids, because they are the new generation who is gonna take care of the farms probably, because we lost a lot of farms nowadays. They're like the dads cannot work anymore and they just leave the coffee plantations, and the kids don't want to go back to the farms. So when I was young, there was so many farmers. Nowadays, I go back home and I don't find any more the farms. There are fruits, something new, big companies. Is there project. My question is if there's a project you and working there, a long-term project with kids as well, or should be a good idea maybe to not just bring to the training rooms or training sessions just the man as well the wife, and maybe the kids probably like get a little bit interest in.
Bueno, maybe you can ask it in Spanish, like you can. I have updated her as you spoke your question in Spanish.
Sí, claro. I will go straight to the question. Voy a ir por la pregunta. ¿Cómo es la situación en Nicaragua acerca de, por ejemplo, la nueva generación de los hijos que crecen, van a las escuelas, a la universidad, salen profesionales y no quieren volver a trabajar en las plantaciones de café por el simple hecho que el trabajo es duro, horas de trabajo y solamente hay una temporada de cosecha de café?
Entonces, ¿quieres saber algunos ejemplos, no?
No.
Que están haciendo en...
No, si hay proyectos que inculquen a los jóvenes volver a trabajar a las plantaciones de café, porque no vuelven y los papás ya no pueden continuar con las plantaciones.
Ok. Bueno, primeramente quiero decirles que es un reto muy grande, pero bueno, con mi idioma, primero, porque ahora estoy queriendo estudiar inglés para no estar con esto de la traducción y entenderles a ustedes y yo poder entender pues y hablar. Pero el tema no es ese, ¿verdad? Ahorita, sino el tema es de los jóvenes. Como iniciativa en Nicaragua y principalmente en el modelo cooperativo, lo que estamos implementando es motivar a los jóvenes a que se involucren en el trabajo en la finca y que ellos puedan optar porque sus padres les den una parcela para que se sientan motivados con sus propios ingresos. Y es lógico cuando el joven sale a estudiar, pues está pensando en la ciudad, está pensando en un trabajo en oficina, está pensando en otro, menos café porque el café es muy duro. Incluso yo pasé por esos momentos. Mi niñez fue muy dura, trabajé mucho en el campo porque soy la tercera generación en café y eso me hizo ir a un pueblo, estudiar secundaria nada más y… Okay.
Porque si no, olvido. So she's explaining that indeed she recognizes this issue as well in Nicaragua, and it's a very big topic, she says. So she proposes to speak from her personal experience. Yeah, a lot of young people indeed are leaving the countryside, maybe have opportunities to study and don't feel interested in going back to the farming because coffee farming is really tough.
Y esta parte la podemos relacionar, o sea, estudiar y también la finca. En mi caso, pues pude tener la oportunidad de trabajar en oficina, pero también tener la finca, llevar las dos cosas a la vez y sentirse motivado.
Okay, so one thing could be to try to find a combination of work so that maybe young people can both work in offices and have on the side a coffee farm.
Lo más importante es que los padres a sus hijos jóvenes también les puedan heredar una pequeña parcela y que ellos se sientan dueños de esa parcela para tener sus propios ingresos.
And very critical is that parents are willing to give a small parcel of land already to the children when they're at a young age so that they can feel ownership and responsibility and feel proud of having that land and being able to work on that.
Involucrarlos más en las cooperativas para que ellos sean capacitados y se sientan motivados para seguir el modelo y que ellos sean los futuros relevos generacionales.
¿Hacen eso en su cooperativa?
Sí.
Hay como un grupo de jóvenes. Yeah, and very important also in coffee producer organizations like cooperatives to create, for example, committees for young people where they have decision-making power and can join in the important discussions and decisions for the future of the organization. So that from a young age they feel involved and also heard, I guess. And if I can add to that, I personally think that, because this is a common problem in agriculture in general, not only in coffee, also in cocoa and, well, name it. Every hard work on the farm is getting less popular by young people, and people migrate to cities. And I think actually that if there is one sector where we can, which is pretty exciting for young people, then it's specialty coffee, because it connects people in such a direct way. Ivania also mentioned that she's now started classes in English because she really wants to engage directly with you and not having me sitting next to her translating. So, but yes, the specialty coffee sector offers quite a lot of exciting opportunities for young people, I think.
Yo creo que es muy valioso saber que los padres tienen una gran responsabilidad con los hijos. Y pues esa es la motivación que vamos a llevarles para un futuro.
Yeah, she concludes that indeed the parents do have a great responsibility in that, so that they pass on this, this maybe the love for farming, but also the responsibility to their children.
Cool. I think we have time for one more question. There was a question somewhere up here. I think you had your hand up first. Sorry. There's a gentleman, Hannah, just in the corner. Sorry. There'll be plenty of time for questions in the workshops, so don't worry.
Thank you. You told us about the thing that the farmers are not victims, and people tend to depict them that way. I agree, they're not victims, but we can all at the same time agree with the fact that not always, exactly how you said, they have the best living situation, they have the best material situation, and so on. Having that seal on our bags in which we sell coffee, saying fair trade, how does that impact the situation of the farmers per se? I mean, how better it gets having that fair trade seal compared to not having that? Please answer me that from a farmer's point of view, because I've never heard it before.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think you have the good person then here in front of you. I fully agree with you, and that's exactly my struggle, to do justice to the power imbalance and inequality that exists in our value chain, though not victimize people and reduce them to poor people only. Entonces está preguntando si usted puede contar un poco más sobre el efecto del comercio justo, la certificación en las vidas de los productores, porque está diciendo que todos sí sabemos que el productor o la productora no gana, como que no gana.
No soy lo suficiente.
Sí, entonces el efecto de comercio justo, de su perspectiva.
Es muy importante la certificación de comercio justo, pero también es importante que estén los compradores dispuestos a comprar el café certificado, porque ahora las transnacionales también están certificadas.
So indeed, it's very important for me, the certification as a producer, but it's also very important that there are consumers who are buying certified coffee.
Y en las transnacionales están los grandes y pues están teniendo más oportunidades, y cuando no le llega ese precio al pequeño productor con las transnacionales.
¿Y cómo hay que puede explicarme cómo que?
Transnacionales, una empresa grande como Sisa Atlantic, que compran café y ellas también están certificadas, y el café ellos lo compran a grandes productores. Las cooperativas somos los pequeños. O sea, si el movimiento se da más con las pequeñas organizaciones, hay más oportunidad para el pequeño productor.
Yeah, so there is a lot of big traders and buyers. She says that tend to buy from bigger coffee farms, probably because for many reasons it's easier than buying from a cooperative of small-scale producers. And she kind of emphasizes that this would be crucial also for the también es relacionado con la certificación de comercio justo que compran de las cooperativas. Yeah, also related to the fair trade certificate.
Y es una buena oportunidad para el pequeño productor porque puede tener un poco más de ingresos para mejorar la calidad de vida.
I'm going to ask her if she can give some practical examples of how the certification has impacted her life and those of her community. Entonces, ¿nos puede dar algunos ejemplos muy claros cómo ha cambiado comercio justo?
A través del comercio justo se ha podido lograr mayor capacitación a los productores para producir café de mejor calidad, vivir una vida más digna en el aspecto por los criterios de comercio justo.
¿Y cómo de calidad? ¿Qué?
Hablamos de calidad en la producción del café, o sea,
talleres,
cómo producir el café con mejor calidad a través de capacitación.
So, for example, they had trainings on how to improve the quality of the coffee. ¿Y qué más dijiste? Disculpa.
Bueno, es que no sé qué hablaste.
Sí, disculpa. De las capacitaciones de calidad. ¿Y qué más dijiste?
Mejor calidad de vida, o sea, trato justo para los trabajadores.
Como mejor precio, sí.
Sí, con los mejores precios, también al trabajador se le paga mejor.
Okay, yeah, so and also just in general, the quality of life, people receive better prices. Like we know, or they receive premiums for these certified coffees. Also, workers on bigger coffee plantations have higher salaries. It's a big topic you're opening because there are so many things to say also about the pros and the cons, I think, of the certification. But Ivania really is, it has helped her a lot also to reach out to buyers overseas. In Nicaragua, I think it has been very successful for cooperatives.
So if we can get one more round of applause.